Hello, everyone. Today, I'm going to cover a couple topics. First thing, someone asked me in my comment section of my video about getting started in collecting coins. So we'll go over that a little bit. But the first thing I'm going to do is show a couple things that we'll look at this first. This is a replica coin. It's designed to look like what you can see on the moon, the craters and stuff. And this is the light side, the side that faces the Earth, and this is the dark side that we never see, except using satellites. It's a neat looking piece. I got it from Temu, but it's not really worth a whole lot. It only cost a couple dollars. Now, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to set this coin glass tray down here, like that. I'll go ahead and kind of settle the red stone in it and talk about ways you can get coins. Well, one way you can get coins is by going to the bank and asking them if they have dollar coins or half dollars. They don't have them very often. These are not really collectible. People hated the design and the size. 50-cent coins, what you're looking for is 60s, Kennedys. They're 40%, 64 is 90%. And you can get them at the bank occasionally. Now, we'll keep looking. Some people may not remember, they made these from 79 to 81, and then in 1999, they made more. Because I think they were used for Subway or something. Now, what I was looking for is to see if any of these Sacagaweas were 2000 Philadelphia, because that's the date you want for the Wounded Eagle. It will be a raised die crack or something on the coin, and it will be at a diagonal, and it's not very big, but they know there's about 100 of them, and so with 100 there could be more. But we will again look at this moon replica. You can see the craters on it and stuff. Like I said, I got this from Temu. This is the dark side of the moon. It's a real cool looking piece, but I would not pay very much for one if you ever see it at a thrift store or flea market, because they ordered it probably from Temu and got it for a couple dollars. All right. Something I knew I had but hadn't seen in a while. I was going through some stuff to declutter. And we have this paperweight with a Korean conflict 50th anniversary. 1950 through 1953 is when they were fighting. This was made probably in 2003. And it's a paperweight. This is acrylic, some kind of a plastic. Comes in a fancy little box like this, but you can see I paid $4 for it, so it's not worth a whole lot. Usually when stuff has fancy boxes like that, it's not really worth a whole lot. The box, that is, doesn't really factor into the value of the piece. Now, we'll go ahead and pull this stuff out of the coin glass tray, which these recently you can find these for about $20 in this color, red and Kelly green. This green here is not Kelly green. It is military green or olive green or emerald green is what they call the Kelly green as well. But that's like an olive green, and it's not as collectible. The one over here, the clear, is also not very collectible. But the real collectible colors is the neon blue, and there's a red that's very similar color to this. And there, like I said, the emerald green, which is fairly collectible too. Now, if you are just starting in coin collecting, one thing you can do is go by a bookstore and see if they have this book, if they still make this magazine, Coins. Inside this was printed in 2016, so it's a little bit old. But you go back and look, and we'll go ahead and show the page. Kennedy half dollars, 65 through 70. Those are 40%. Hello, Victor and San Miguel. The 64 Kennedy in 2016 at Extra Fine was worth about $8, they say. So this particular book is old and it's outdated quite a bit, but it's still, if you get a new one, it's not so outdated, of course. But this is how I started collecting seeded coins. When I bought this, I probably didn't even have one, but I do have several now. Now, the other book you want to have is a U.S. coin red book. They call this the red book. This is 2018, so it's pretty dated too. So, but one thing that isn't going to change is the mintages and stuff like that. So we go back and see what it says for Kennedy half dollars. The red book only rates them 64s at Mint State 60 value, which there really isn't very much collectible to them. They made a lot of them, as the mintages there will tell you. 273 million of the Philadelphia and 156 million of the 64D. But it is a coin you could get from the bank by luck if someone turns some in. These other ones, probably not so much. But it's really when you go back into the barber house, you start getting some that are really low mintages, including the 1914 Philadelphia, 124,000 were made. So that's a pretty low mintage for a circulation coin in the 1900s in the United States. So that's something you'll want to know. Red book. And maybe a current price guide magazine like that. Now, a couple online things you can consult. Coinflation. They have a coin melt chart. It updates live. And USA Coin Book is somewhat like the red book, but it's not quite as prices might be a little different, but whatever. It is a quick way to see mintages and not have to carry a book around, because you can pull it up on your phone. Now this is the melt values of these coins right now. War nickels, $4. Dime, $5.24. Quarter, $13.10. Half dollar, $26.20. That's how much a 64 Kennedy. This isn't one. This is a bicentennial. If this is a 40% bicentennial, half dollar would be worth about $10.70. But nobody will pay you that much for it, because it's a much less desirable silver. And the Morgan dollar current melt's around $56. Pretty high. So, in a lot of ways, I don't think it's probably a great idea to go around and start buying a bunch of coins right now because the silver price is so high. Now, there are other options. You can buy some stuff. Sometimes coin dealers have a box of a bunch of random foreign coins that aren't silver. And you can get some interesting looking designs, coins from several different countries. 2.5 cent, which is 1944, and I'm not even sure where this one is even circulated from. And that on this one is a ship, a sailing ship. 1955, Eastern Group, British Caribbean Territories. It's a quarter, but it's demonetized probably. I don't think they still circulate too much. Now we can go ahead, get these out of the way. The problem with buying silver when it's 70 something dollars an ounce is that the cost of these coins is going to be a lot higher than what they were when I bought them. I got a box here with some coins. Now, if you buy these, and I don't think I paid 45. I might have, I don't remember. But the high-end collectors for these kinds want no damage, no environmental damage on their coin. So unfortunately, this one does not have very far it could go up. But it is copper, so copper's not worth that much that it would make this a very expensive coin to collect. And here's another example of one of those that's not quite as nice. I mean, there's still a lot of detail left on it, and $14 is a lot cheaper. Now, here's a Flying Eagle cent. They only made these 3 years. There's a bit of the date left. It looks like it says 1858. 56, they only made a few thousand. 57, they made quite a few million. And so in 58. And one other thing I like to recommend if you're doing this, buying these kind of coins and they have staples, flatten them. A coin like this don't matter that much, and the silver price wouldn't change this any because it's made out of copper. Not a lot of people collect those because good examples cost quite a bit. 2-cent coins, same kind of deal with them. They're not super collectible. Now, these 3-cent nickels, not too many people really collect these either. Or these V nickels like this, not so much. Now this is a neat piece here, Capus time. It is worn quite a bit. It's not very much silver in this. This is the kind of coin that the value would be more determined by its scarcity and demand from collectors. But this one is worn out quite a bit. But they're not. There's quite a few of them that were made on some years, I guess, but they're not super collectible. You can buy stuff like this though. It's not silver. It's kind of it's something to do with space, the landing on the moon and stuff. And that's the 3 astronauts that went there. And this is for GNC. It might be silver plated, but it's not really worth much. If it was a solid sterling silver piece, it would probably be worth about $20 to $25 because of its size and weight. Now, when you go back and start collecting stuff like these barber dimes, I'm going to show a few. Since silver's for a dime is over $5, I wouldn't probably be able to get these at this kind of price. $18.92, $18.99. The nice thing about these, you can get 1890s coins. And then the Orleans Mint, I like to get these coins because a lot of people don't even know they made coins in New Orleans unless you buy and trade in older coins or really look around the Red Book and stuff. They stopped making them in 1909 coins, that is. The museum is still there, but they don't make coins. It's part of the Jazz Museum. So, but with silver being so high, it's pretty hard to really recommend starting a big silver collection of coins that are made out of silver, just because they're so expensive. Let's see what else is in this box. I have not looked in this box in a while. Here's a mercury dime that's pretty nice. This one coin dealer I used to go to, I asked him what he thought this might grade. He said he thought it might be a mint state 63 or 62, maybe 63. And it does appear like the band is almost all the way across, so it's a decent strike, and it's barely seen any circulation. It's a really nice looking one, actually. But it's 1941. What else do I have in this box? All right. 1893 Orleans. Someone wrote VG on the card, which means very good. And you can see part of the lettering up there. There's a Liberty on that. Some people don't really like the design because it's very busy on this. Not much open space on the coin. And there's the old mint. I don't know if I actually ended up paying that much for it or not. I want to say I probably didn't, but it's hard to say for sure. There's a more reasonable price one on the 1898 Orleans. This one's got quite a bit of wear, much more than the other one. And the wear patterns are inconsistent. This side's worn more than that side. Hello, Liberty Bleeds. How you doing? It's a nice coin, and melt on a quarter now is quite a bit. I mean, it's like, where'd that paper go? Melt on a quarter is 13.10 right now. Oh yeah, I want to say Happy New Year to everybody who might watch this now or later. And some of these are Denver Mint. It opened and they started building it and opened, and I don't really remember, but it's not round. It's clearly a D. And by 1910, the Orleans Mint was closed by then. Let's see if there's anything else interesting in here. This is kind of interesting. For a while, they did make West Point quarters and put them out to circulation. They're not silver, but they only made a couple million of each design. So they're somewhat collectible, and they made them 2 years. Now, $10 Franklin half. I bought it a while back. Not a real long time ago, but silver's went up so much. $50 melt right now is $26.20. What else do we have in here we can talk about? Kind of a nice looking proof. 64, very common. I really do not know what else is in this box. It looks like some of the modern dollar coins. Like that's a 2015 Philadelphia with the Mohawk Iron Workers on the back. It was something I got from the bank. And by the way, on this, since I got it from the bank, I wrote bank on the back of it, so I know I have $1 in it, and it's 2.8 million were made, so it's not a lot. All right, getting back in this a little bit. Now, this is a 90% silver coin made by West Point. $24. Current melt on this is 56. So if I went to buy this today, my coin dealer who has this stuff at this price when I bought it, prices this stuff really close to its melt value because no one really cares about these. But one thing about most of these designs, if they have a proof edition, they make a lot more proofs than this one, which is just a standard uncirculated example. All right. I don't really, there's a few other things back here, some Canadian 80% stuff, 50-cent coin. Pretty nice looking design, I must say. I like them. Let's see, what's the oldest Canadian $50? All right, here's a sterling one from 1912. And the date is almost worn off, but you can see it's 1912. Meanwhile, it's ASW's 0.3456, I think it is. Somewhere around there. It makes for a 3 of these makes an ounce, so it's pretty well under melt right now. I mean, compared to what I paid for it. But that's pretty much that box. There's a lot more coins in it, but that's about all I got to and wanted to talk about. This other box I haven't looked in quite some time, and turns out this one is quarters, 650. Yeah, but the melt on a quarter today is $13.10. So this would probably be $13, $14 today, even worn out like this. I think I might have one in here. It's a little bit nicer, maybe. That one's not worn as much. I mean, anytime you can get 1800s coins and they're not worn to slicks, it's kind of nice. What else is in this? Several Barber quarters, a lot of Orleans Mint. I like to buy the Orleans Mint because, well, they no longer make them. So we have standing liveries in here, but standing liberties in this one. This one says it's a very good coin, and you can see it's got pretty good detail left on it. I don't know whether I totally agree with that. Someone wrote choice fine. Plus. It's still got a lot of detail left on it. And I like this design, the Standing Liberty design. There's quite a few of Washington quarters. This one's got a distinction of being the third lowest of the Washington quarters in silver. It's 1937 San Francisco, about 1.6 million, which is a pretty low mintage for a quarter for circulation, but the 32 San Francisco and 32 Denver are way lower. And when you can get these and they look this nice, good mint luster on this. It's pretty much uncirculated. Don't know why someone put back a 1948 Denver for some reason. They did. Once you get into the 50s, it's a little easier to find them in higher grade like this. Some of the 30s and 40s, they're just almost impossible to get in good shape. Alright, here's a 63 proof, and you can tell by the look of it, it looks watery, glassy almost, with the way the light hits it. Proofs are nice, but they did make them and they really weren't circulated, so for the most part there's not a whole lot of heavy collectible value to them. And sometimes people will cut the mint set up like this mint set 63 Philadelphia, still in the mint wrap. And here's a 61 that's also still in the mint wrap. 475 and 1310 is the melt on these now, so if you go to buy one of these now today at 1310, you're probably going to pay around 1310. Littlefoot silver, I've seen the design. I'm going to be putting some of them back. I don't know if they're planning on making silver sets, mint sets, but once I start getting them in my change, I'm going to keep several of them because that's a spectacular design. And some of the quarters are too, because there's one of them's got a selling ship on the back. I'm not sure if it's the Constitution or not, but it's pretty cool. But one last thing, while this is going, if anybody would subscribe, this could be the video where I cross over to 3,000 subscribers. I looked earlier before I started this, it was 2,999, and I'd like to see at least 3,000 subscribers. 3,000. It's a nice number. It's very unexpected. When I started this, I didn't know if I'd ever get more than 5 or 10. But yeah, Littlefoot silver stacker. That dime is spectacular. Now, I'm going to just close this out with looking at this quarter I just got in my change. This design is different. There's the person's name, United States of America, $quarter. It's kind of neat. Next year, the quarter's going to have 5 or 6 different designs from what I understand. One of them, like I said, is going to have a selling ship on it, and I'm going to keep some of those for sure. But it's pretty much all I have. Like I said, if you're going out we'll summarize this. If you're going out thinking about, I'm never, started a coin collection before, these are some nice things to know. Coinflation and the USA Coin Book both can be accessed online on your cell phone real quick. And this was the current silver melt price of the coins. A lot of them shouldn't be much more really because they're not rare. A common date, dimes, quarters, half dollars, and even Morgan dollars and peace dollars. Circulated some, shouldn't be much over melt. In fact, a lot of places might have them under melt right now just because uh, the silver prices went up and down so much. And if you put a price on a coin, do you want to go back and change hundreds of coins? Most people probably wouldn't do it. I mean, but if you had a bunch of these coins, and say I had a booth somewhere and I was going to sell these, I would definitely reprice them because 650's even worn out is too low on a coin that the melt value is 13. Although this one's probably lost a gram or close to it. So I'd say its melt value is probably more like about 11.50, $12, something like that. But I couldn't see selling them at $6.50, $7. That now I might not mark it up to melt because how much profit do I really need to make off that coin? I mean, if I was to sell it today, that is, and someone said, I want that coin, I'll give you $10 for it. I'd probably take it. But anyway, that's pretty much all I have for tonight. I hope everyone has a good night. I'm going to go check and see if we hit 3,000 subscribers or not. But that's pretty much all I have. I hope everyone has a really good night and Happy New Year to everybody.